Hi guys, good afternoon. You caught me while I was having some lunch. Bear with me, I am starving. I hope you're all well. Happy Sunday! I feel like these last few days have just been filled with Meghan joy and positivity, and I'm feeling the joy and the positivity. If you're new to my channel, hi. Hope you're well. If you're a regular and a subscriber, I am so grateful to you. Thank you so much for your support. I've been enjoying growing the channel organically. And I've always said on this channel, the one thing we do, the only people we drag here are the haters. The only people we drag here are the people who are evil and say terrible things about Harry and Meghan. Generally, we try to keep it positive. We try to keep it kind, fair. And yeah, I'm a Meghan fan. I make no apologies for that at all. I don't see any reason why I have to be justifying it, frankly. What that woman has been through is unacceptable. And if nothing else, the one thing I've learned from her wonderful and incredible story is resilience. As a businesswoman myself, somebody who's an engineer, somebody who is also teaching herself how to exist in a world that is very quick to judge people who don't fall in line. I find her inspirational. I think the hate she gets as a Black African woman is an insult to all Black Africans. And I think whether you are biracial, you are Black, or whatever ethnicity you are, watching a woman of color get pilloried every day for the mere existence of existing should be an affront. Should be an affront, and you should be rallying in support. All of you that are making money hating Meghan, I wish you all the evil. I wish you nothing but evil. I wish you nothing of bad luck, because money that is made that way can be good. I'm not a religious person, but I am very much Nigerian, and we are superstitious. And I'm a firm believer that when you do evil to others, evil comes back to you tenfold. You might be making £10 today, £1,000 today hating on Meghan, but that money is going to turn to ash in your mouth. Quote me. Now, today, guys, let us react to people who collect £30 per appearance fee and have to jump between different fake sets in the British media, give a multi-millionaire and growing advice on how to run her business.
Around her, in the form of Netflix, she's also had a big TV show in which to launch her product line. So it's very different to an individual just starting making jam at their kitchen table.
And Netflix is the big one there, because that is the other element that I was going to raise. I'm glad you have, because do you think that these decisions are largely coming from Team Meghan, or do you think that Netflix would be a driving force behind the way that this is rolling out?
Well, again, we don't really know the structure of this business deal, do we? And whether Netflix are a more silent partner in the as ever business, but it...
Bear with me, guys. I usually let them talk. Let me just clarify something right now. Meghan and Netflix have said Netflix is a silent partner. Either Sarah did not do her research, because why would she? It's the British media telling lies about Meghan. It's like breathing for them. They don't have any integrity. But I just wanted to clarify that for those of us who may not have seen the articles, Netflix confirmed they are silent partners. Ted Sarandos confirmed it is a silent partnership. Meghan herself has confirmed it is a silent partnership.
Is, in collaboration with Love Meghan, because we see her making the products on with Love Meghan, and then you can buy them. Netflix have got this range of stores coming out where you can go and buy things that you've seen on shows on the streaming platform. But it is very different to a one-woman band trying to get a product from her kitchen table to scale. Yeah. She does talk about the problems but I think she has a lot of opportunity there.
I sort of agree with you, Sarah, except you've got to remember that when she first started, what was it, American Riviera Orchard. So they've
R.I.P.
So that's gone. They've had so she's had to rebrand. She's had to look at other things to do with it. So it's not been perfect. My view is that it is mainly, I would say, 90% Meghan who's running the show, because this is a woman who does not want to take orders from anybody.
I agree. She doesn't want to let go, and I guess she is putting her name to it. But yes, it has been chaotic. Whether or not that's the sort of thing you'd expect when you're launching any small business, it's just that this one is playing out in the public eye in a really
But that's
big
what she
way.
wants. That's what she wants.
I'm going to ignore what that old man is saying, but she's right, actually. Any small business has chaos. And this is my point. The woman is acting like as if she doesn't know anything about setting up a small business. And let me assume she doesn't. So if you don't know anything about setting up a small business, why are you offering an opinion? I run a business. It's chaotic. And it's just me. It's literally just me. Right? It's chaos. You cannot predict a damn thing. You can only do your best. Right, and hope that some normal headwinds maintain, especially if you're going into like a market that has been tried and true. But like if you're starting something new, especially people that are working in the food industry, whether you're running a restaurant or you're doing what Meghan is doing, selling something that she built off recipes in her own kitchen, you can't predict. And yes, I know she mentioned it in the interview she gave with Time that when they were having conversations about it, she had to partner up with Netflix. Sorry, she didn't have to, but they made that they reached out to her and said, look, there's an opportunity here. You bring in a certain amount of attention. If you're going to start a business, let's work together. Let's help you. Let's help each other. So to her point about chaos, even with Netflix, there is chaos. Meghan did mention to us why she changed the arrow to as ever, that it was word salad. She's already explained it. Again, the reason why I tend to interrupt them when they're talking is, if you want to watch the full interview without my interruptions, feel free to go and watch it yourself. I'm not going to link it here because I'm not giving certain views. And this is my own way of kind of like pushing back. They have a habit of half-truths, of lying, of intentionally misinterpreting things, or just not doing their research. If people like us are not speaking up, you will be thinking that, Meghan is just a disorganized person. It's not easy running a business. It's not easy getting these things off the ground, even with the amount of scrutiny Meghan gets. But whether you like her or not, that's difficult. Because you're overthinking, and again, this is why she released the podcast the way she did, so that you it gives you a glimpse into the kind of struggles she went through, the thinking around the branding, the products, the names, how that would, the partnerships. So yeah, sorry for that long tirade. I just wanted to clarify some things, because the person moderating them is not doing her job. She's not asking them the right questions, and she didn't even do her own research. So let's just
played out in the public eye, because that is one of the main ways that she has got to sell £10.
And that's why they sell out in 45 minutes,
exactly.
Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's very rich Americans.
The issue is it doesn't
That is not true, but let's continue.
seem that strategic though when it does change a lot, and the public perception is that it does appear a little chaotic. And further to that, Meghan's had a few projects now that haven't survived long past their infancy or season one, as was the case with the first podcast. Do you think that she really needs to be careful now to show that she's committing to this long term, and that's a reputational issue?
What is she talking about? It's like as if they sit down together, create a scenario, and try and force it on us. What public perception? What? Meghan had a a podcast arrangement with Spotify 3 years ago. We don't know the terms of that arrangement. We don't know if it was intended to be a long-term thing or a one-off. That one season is done. It's a completely different subject matter, interview framework, and setup compared to this new season, where she specifically is focusing on female founders because she's a female founder herself. So to me, it's kind of like the second season of Meghan producing podcast content. How does that mean she's a failure? I'm confused. Doing a one-off series doesn't mean you're a failure. It's like saying I did a limited series, and because I did a limited series and the next series I'm doing is something different, I failed. What? And then the thing about her public perception, please raise your hands in the chat if you think Meghan, if you're honest, if you're not a deranger or a hater, are you thinking about Meghan's public perception as a businesswoman? Or can you, for those of you that are businesswomen, relate with the chaos that comes with even the most organized plant rollout? You can't predict this stuff. Things happen. And it doesn't make her chaotic or this. What? Anyway, let's continue.
Well, I don't think that she bothers about that much. About that, as far as she's concerned, she's there. I've got no objections to Meghan and Harry making money, none whatsoever. However they want to operate now is fine. It's their royal connections that really irritate me, and they're piggybacking off that a great deal. But
a moderator would have challenged him and said, could you give us scenarios in which Meghan and Harry are piggybacking off their royal connections to make money? And please, guys, feel free to let me know in the chat. I really want to hear from the derangers and the haters and the people that don't like Meghan because she's maybe piggybacking off her royal connection. In what way? Is she going to Netflix and beating on their door saying, I am the wife of the sixth in line who will never ever get to be the heir to the throne? Give me contracts. Is Harry going around bullying people in Montecito? Americans don't give a damn about royal titles, let me just be clear. They see them as celebrities. It's kind of soap opera to them. Titles mean nothing to them across the pond. Yes, you are a dignitary, and they can use you to boast and invite you to parties and take pictures with you and put it on their walls. Like, oh wow, I met Prince Harry. Oh wow, I met Duchess Meghan. But you can't make them spend money. What? What are you talking about? And if that were the case, there were rumors, since we are dealing on rumors that can't be verified, there were rumors that the royal family went to Netflix and told them not to progress Meghan and Harry's, or I think mainly Meghan's project, and that they would give them alternative content. And Netflix was like, what? Why? The royal family doesn't have power outside the US, my dear. They are good in the US. They are no different than the Kardashians. They are for taking pictures, inviting them to special lunches, and who doesn't want to hang out with a dignitary? Beyond that, they don't have any say there. So I don't know what he's talking about. That they are monetizing their royal. What? Anyway,
I think Meghan is the one who's driving everything, and I think she will eventually come a cropper with all this. I mean, she says, I don't want to annoy the public. Well, why not? She's annoyed everybody else.
When did she say that?
I mean, she is a very annoying person in my view.
But I do agree with Charles that it is in everyone's interest if she is able to make a success of this and make money off the back of this, because we know they've got a very expensive lifestyle, not least the security costs, and Prince Harry just having lost that Court of Appeal case. It is in everyone's interest, the royal family included, if they are able to be self-sufficient, if they're able to build a life. Prince Harry can do his philanthropy, Meghan can launch the business. Well,
why are they always going with that talking point? Why are they always, ever since Harry has been young, they have made him sound like a bumbling idiot. Oh, Harry couldn't possibly run a business. Oh, come on now. Harry is the CEO of Travelist. Harry was in Shanghai recently because he is the CEO of Travelist, and his sustainable travel business got him invited to give a talk in Shanghai. Harry's company, Travelist, from what I've been made to understand, has an upcoming project. I apologize, guys. I knew about it a few days ago, but I can't remember. I'll get the full details. I'll put the link in the chat. Harry's an investor. He spoke at a startup conference recently. He's an angel investor. He invests in business. What makes you think Harry doesn't know about business? Is it because they understand that they intentionally starve members of the royal family of any proper life skills that makes it possible for them to survive in the outside world? Yes, that may be true. When Harry was 31, 32, when he met Meghan, it's been 10 years since? With all the people that Harry and Meghan hang out with, you think that they're not doing it intentionally to build a network to help them build this business? You think the Netflix thing happened out of fresh air? You think that they didn't maintain that relationship so that they could promote their businesses and their business interests? Again, these people know nothing about Harry and Meghan. I know more, basically, but they have created a narrative, and in their bid to rewrite history, because Harry and Meghan continue to thrive outside the royal life, they are coming here and all of a sudden they want Meghan to be successful because they know she is going to be. All of a sudden, do you remember last year they were insulting her? What am I saying last year? 2 weeks ago they were saying Aseva is a flop. I don't even know where they got that from. I still don't understand where that came from. I read the article everybody read. I'm not seeing where Meghan said she wasn't going to produce another season of another stock of Aseva. When did she say that? It's like as if this WhatsApp chat they're in, they find one talking point and all these idiots share it amongst themselves. And the funny thing is, you would think they would have learnt by now to stop making grand declarations, because Meghan keeps on making them look stupid as if it has failed. In what way? How does a product that sells out in less than an hour sound like a failure to you? In what way? In what world? Anyway, she's talking in June. Those of you who haven't seen my video, she's talking in June. Please bear that in mind. And yeah, it's like, again, and this thing about Harry, guys, this is why I interrupt them a lot, because the BS is too much.
I mean, I think that suits everybody.
And if 5 years on from Megxit, you know, they wanted the financial independence. So exactly as you say, this is hopefully what's going to happen with this business. And moving on now to this bonus episode itself with Tina Knowles, it was a bit of a departure from earlier episodes in that it had a lot more showbiz flair to it. Of course, it's Beyonce's mum. Do we think that this is what we're going to see more of moving forward with Meghan's podcast, or do you think that this was just going out with a bang?
I think that's what Lemonade will be hoping for if there's a second series. And of course, we don't know yet whether there is going to be a second series. But this was a bonus episode. The series had come to an end, and then we got this announcement that there was going to be this extra episode featuring, what did she call her? The mom?
The matriarch.
The matriarch and the mom mogul, I think she called Tina Knowles. And she made it very clear that Tina Knowles had picked up the phone to her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, I picked up on that.
Yes, and that you don't turn down a call like that. You pick up the phone and then you do this episode. Actually, I thought this was one of the most interesting episodes in the series, because Tina Knowles has a really, really interesting story to tell about launching her own hair care business, about going into business with her daughter Beyonce, about managing family businesses and the disagreements that come along the way. And as I was listening to that, I was thinking, ooh, the family firm and disagreements. And there was one particular line that stood out for me when Tina said, you know, of course we disagree as family, and when we're in business together and we're working together, there will be disagreements, but I don't let them kind of sit. I can't. I pick up the phone and I make up, because I don't want to miss that time. And I thought, oh, wow, okay. Because, you know, you're talking to someone who is no longer speaking to her father, and whose husband is no longer speaking to his father, and a lot of time is passing.
It really stood out because she used...
Do you see how they remix history? First of all, Tina Knowles is a mom. They didn't clock that part, right? They didn't clock that part that the mom reaches out to her children when they have disagreements to fix the problem. Of course, they won't talk about that. Which, since they are using this ridiculous analogy with, they're trying to analogize Harry's and Meghan's relationship. Shouldn't Charles be picking up the phone to Harry to say, look, we had a disagreement. You're my child. I love you. Come home. I will give you the security that you need so I can meet my grandchildren. And Harry has confirmed that his father hasn't spoken to him since 2022. His father hasn't met his granddaughter. And don't forget that Harry said it. Harry will only get the security he deserves to protect his family if Charles invites him. Charles has not invited Harry. Notice how they didn't focus on that part. Or let me, I told you guys, I don't talk about Thomas Markle. The only time I'm going to speak about that sperm donor is when he dies. And I'm going to do a 1 hour live dragging him to hell. But I will say this. Meghan does not speak. Even if Tom picks up the phone to call Meghan, why should she answer? He tried to ruin her wedding. He sold her pictures to the press, sold videos of her to the press, came on shows that were internationally broadcasted to insult his daughter, to say that she didn't have mental health issues, to say that she was the one pushing Harry around, to say that the royal family, who he's never met, are not racist. He allowed Piers Morgan to use him as a flog to flog his own daughter, allowed the right wing to use him as a flog to hurt his child, allowed himself, probably the only good thing he's done so far is because he's so desperate for fame and for money, he was willing to testify against his own biological child over a letter he leaked. And I believe that she set that up to kind of use it as a weapon to go after the British media for intentionally leaking stuff about her. And she won. Thomas Markle can go burn in hell as far as I'm concerned. And I hope he goes slowly and it is painful. If I get struck down for this, I don't give a damn. That is what I think about you, Tom Markle. I'm not mentioning his name again. Let's continue.
The phrase wasted time, and Meghan agreed and said, yes, it's wasted time.
Yes.
Coming up in Texas when she was very young, where there was segregation and everything else. I mean, it is really fascinating story, and I'm hoping to get hold of the book that she's just done. And I think it was I don't know who rang who, whether it was Tina rang Meghan or Meghan rang
just said
Tina,
it now, Charles.
whoever it was. That was a very, very smart move to get someone like her on that podcast. To talk about a whole variety of subjects, and I agree with Sarah. That put down of I never let you've got to not have arguments within the family and everything else. I mean, that is a great put down. I bet she forgets that bit.
It wasn't a put down.
I'm glad you touched on it then, because there have been reports previously that Meghan had struggled to get A-list names on her show and on the podcast.
It's like they can't help themselves. If Meghan was struggling to get A-listers, how was she able to secure them in 2022? She had Serena, she had Isari, she had Ziwe, she had Trudeau's wife, she had Mariah Carey, and she had and others. If Meghan was struggling, how did she get these women? Why? Because in her podcast this time around, which is a completely different format. And if this show continues, and I hope it does, I really do think that other people have heard from Meghan and they've seen how successful they are, her products are. If she does do a season 2 of Confessions, which I hope she does, we will see a different. Meghan chooses who she wants on her shows. She intentionally chose those women for a reason, and I think she chose them before relatability. Because we want to hear from people who had to. And if you look at each podcast was different. Which just goes to show that the point of the podcast completely flew over this idiot's head. Because we're looking for tidbits, for celebrity, for showbiz, for bizarres. They were not listening to what was supposed to be a very educational piece of content for business women. By using relatable women who weren't necessarily born into entertainment lifestyle, or who weren't necessarily chasing that lifestyle, who just had an idea and turned that idea into billion-dollar of fairly successful businesses. That was actually quite useful for many of us. Because the average person, me, can relate to a lot of those women. But anyway.
How important for her brand Meghan moving forward and away from the royal connection, how important is it for her to get those names involved in what she's doing?
I think it's very, very important. I mean, when you look at a company in the UK called Warburton's, which makes bread, and they've had Samuel L. Jackson, Robert De Niro, advertising their bread. Now that is a lot of money. Now she needs to get hold of A-list, really triple A-list celebrities on those podcasts to help sell that stuff that she's making.
And also people who want to be involved in their own right, not just because they're friends in Montecito with Meghan, because that has been my slight bugbear with this podcast. Sometimes you feel a bit excluded from the conversation as a listener, because there's an awful lot of gushing chat, there's a lot of praising of each other, there's a lot of talk about people that we don't know. In this episode, they were talking about, I think it was Yvette, who I think is Beyonce's PR or manager. They were talking about Tyler, well, that's Tyler Perry, who, of course, helped Meghan and Harry and gave them a house when they first moved to California. But there's a lot of conversations about people they know and we don't know. And there's a lot of kind of matiness going on. I'd really love to see some of these guests being booked because they want to be a part of Meghan's podcast, because they believe in that brand, not just because they're trying to do each other.
Okay, that's enough of that nonsense. So again, I don't know what Sarah is talking about. Meghan has always made it clear that she wants to use her platform to uplift, right? And this idea that these women didn't want to be there, why would they do a podcast with her if they didn't want to be there? What? Oh Lord, it's like they can't help the jealousy, the resentment. They spent 5 years trying to convince themselves, not us, that Meghan is hated in Hollywood. She's not. That Meghan is a terrible person. She's not. That Meghan is going to fail in the US. I don't even know who they were speaking, because the 3 people they know in the US make up the 300 million people that live there. because the shade they get from Fox News and even mainstream media represents the people that all the 300 million people that live there. This isn't the UK, my love. And even for the UK, let me clarify something for international Meghan haters and lovers. I live in the UK. I am a British citizen. I like Meghan. I love Meghan. I admire her. I respect her. A lot of people like Meghan here. They respect her because they see the royal family for what they have done to Harry and Meghan. A lot of people of color like Meghan because, again, they recognize what's happened to Meghan because it's happened to a lot of us before. So this narrative, these white reporters are pushing, and some of the turncoats, anti-Toms and losers are looking to capitalize off Meghan hate, is a lie. If Meghan was hated so much, why is she the most followed royal? Why is her content always the one that brings the most attention? But they hate her. How many people engage with content they hate? Come on now. So yeah, I just wanted to this video was really kind of taking us back a bit to the type of pushback I usually used to do, because once in a while we need to remind people, stop listening to the British media. They don't know what they're talking about, and sometimes their jealousy comes out, like that comment she made in the end that well, I don't want to hear from Meghan's friends. I want celebrities who have said they want to be there. Are you an idiot, Sarah? You must be. It's bitterness. All these people are barely making £30 per appearance fee. But that's to my point from the earlier start. They are somehow under the delusional idea they understand any industry enough to give a multi-millionaire, internationally known, one of the most famous women in the world, any type of advice from their green screen studio on how to run a business. I keep on telling you guys, what pisses these people off the most is the press will barely be a footnote in history. It will always be in history that Prince Harry, sixth in line to the British throne, married an American biracial woman, Meghan Markle, and produced 2 children who are also in line to the British throne. So that, to me, is revenge enough. And we all know Meghan is going to be a billionaire. So guys, what do you think? Sorry this video got longer than I would have liked. Please let me know your thoughts in the chat. Please continue to like, subscribe, and share, guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. Let's get to 3K as quickly as possible. I need your help, guys. Please continue to support me. I really appreciate you. Let's keep going. Take care.